Hello guys and welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, then don't forget to subscribe, tap on the like button and make sure to give our videos a thumbs up if you enjoy our content. Now in this video, my fellow Black brothers and sisters are setting the record straight during this Black History Month by addressing a common misconception that DEI programs are the same as affirmative action. Now, too often, our to the siste and critics throw around these terms without truly understanding what they mean or how they work. And my fellow Black brothers are here to clear that up. Now, in the first clip, a sister explains why ending DEI programs will have the same detrimental effects as overturning affirmative action. Sounds familiar? Yes, it does, because we've seen this story before and it didn't end well. Some people thought that affirmative action was benefiting Black people when in actual sense, it wasn't. Same applies to DEI. They think that Black people were the ones who were benefiting the most from DEI programs, despite the fact that there is statistical proof that palm-color women benefited the most from DEI and affirmative action. So with that said, let's take a look into these videos as my fellow Black brothers and sisters share their thoughts on this. I will be right back.
Do y'all remember what happened when they overturned affirmative action? That's exactly what's going to happen with companies ending their DEI programs. That's exactly what's going to happen. If you don't remember what happened, I will enlighten you because it's quite pleasing. So basically what happened, a group of people, a group that supported Asian Americans, I believe specifically East Asians, sued to have affirmative action overturned because they were stating that their students were not getting into, their kids were not getting into, these top schools because of affirmative action was giving those spots to Black people, okay? Because Black people are the only people who benefited from affirmative action. I don't know what's this, y'all think that affirmative action and DEI programs is specifically for Black people, but I think I know why. It's because y'all know that Black people are snubbed a lot of the times. Anyways, they took it to the Supreme Court, affirmative action was overturned, right? So essentially what happened was that following the school year, after affirmative action had been overturned, a lot of schools started releasing their numbers as far as, their acceptance rates, and a lot of Ivy League schools and other top schools. And it came out that basically Black students were still being accepted at the same rate that they were prior to, affirmative action being overturned. But Asians, their acceptance rates decreased. Shocker. So either y'all were also benefits of affirmative action, or, white people don't like y'all either. White people don't like y'all either. And that same group that sued to get affirmative action overturned is now trying to sue colleges, saying that, they're discriminating against Asian students. I actually made a video about this and I got so many comments and DMs saying that I was in East Asian, blah, 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 I don't know damn. That's what's gonna happen with DEI programs. The biggest beneficiary of DEI programs are white women, okay? It doesn't just benefit Black people. I don't know why y'all think that every Black person who gets a job is because of DEI or affirmative action, okay? White women are the biggest beneficiaries. So y'all are going to be the ones who find out that maybe, if you look at a lot of board of directors for large companies, it's straight white men and it's 2 white women. Okay, y'all are DEI hires. I'm not saying that you're not qualified, but if they could have a whole board of directors of white men, they would do it. Disabled veterans and stuff like that, go ahead and take that off the application if asking me if I'm a veteran, because it's irrelevant now. It's irrelevant now.
Despite the fact that there's statistical proof that white women benefited the most from DEI and affirmative action, a lot of people will use that as a crutch to explain their own failures in life. Quick story, when I was in high school, I overheard a white dude I thought was my friend telling another white dude that I only got into this university one that he didn't get into because of affirmative action. Now, mind you, I played 3 varsity sports. I was in 2 on-campus groups, on the honor roll, had a better GPA than him, had better SAT scores than him, but I only got into this school that he didn't get into because of affirmative action. Nah, bro, I was just better than you. I was just better than you, plain and simple. You just needed a reason to try and explain your own failures, and they gave you this thing to point to. It's not my fault that these schools saw my value over yours. The same way that they rolled affirmative action back a couple years ago, and people are still confused about their percentages in these schools. Maybe it was just you the whole time. And the white women that I see speaking out against these things are mind-boggling to me because it benefited you the most. But good luck.
Okay, so let's talk about DEI and affirmative action because it is painfully obvious that a lot of throw these terms around without understanding what they actually mean. I've been a college professor now for over 20 years, and during that time, I've been on at least 8 different hiring committees. And at no time have I ever been asked to hire someone because of their gender or the color of their skin. It's almost impossible to do anything like that when you're on a hiring committee with 8 or more people who are all scoring applicants separately. However, what we have done is that we have tried to figure out different ways to cast a larger net, meaning we have discussed how we can increase our outreach to marginalized communities. Some of the solutions we've come up with is making sure that our job announcements are being posted at historically Black colleges, as well as in newspaper publications that are in more diverse communities. But at no time have we ever discussed hiring anyone because they were Black or female or Hispanic or anything like that. But we have realized that casting a larger net gives us a better pool, which is definitely beneficial to the entire college. You see, my biggest problem with the current idea of DEI and affirmative action, mostly coming from far-right MAGAs, is that if a white person does anything wrong, it's just an employee doing something wrong. But if a person of color does anything wrong, it's because they were a diversity hire. If you don't realize that is, it's because you're either too much or too ignorant to see that you're being manipulated. We have literally had white pilots show up drunk. We have had white surgeons operate on someone's left arm when they meant to operate on their right arm. We have had white police officers use when they meant to use their taser. And there are so many other examples of corruption, misconduct, and outrage carried out by white people, yet not one has ever been accused of being incompetent because they were a diversity hire. Let's face it, the only people I hear calling people of color a DEI or affirmative action hire are bitter white who obviously lack the credentials to get the job. They just can't face the fact that a person of color beat them out for a job because they were better than them. Period.
In light of DEI and affirmative action being rolled back, I want to take some time and talk about the racial wealth gap as well as the truth about credit. Black and brown communities are systemically scored lower when it comes to credit. This is not by accident. It's not just due to your habits. It is by design. So let's talk about it. Although credit scores were created to be fair, that actually was the opposite intention for Black and brown communities. And actually was designed to keep Black folks out of wealth building opportunities. I will give you examples. Number one, redlining never ended. If you don't know what redlining is, that's where a bank just would outright deny people of color a loan for a mortgage. Number two is higher interest rates for the same credit score. A study by the National Bureau of Economic Research found that Black and Hispanic borrowers were offered worse loan terms than their white counterparts, even if they had the same score. Number three is credit history discrimination. If you are like myself, you did not grow up in a family that passed down credit knowledge. Many Black and brown people start adulthood with no credit. However, their white counterparts have already begun to build credit through authorized users or piggybacking. Lastly, I'm going to talk about employment credit checks. Many employers run credit checks before hiring, which disproportionately affects Black job seekers, especially those who may have been a victim of student loan disparities. I don't just want to give you the problem. I want to talk solutions. The first thing you can do is leverage credit building accounts. You can report your rent, utilities, and subscriptions using services like Experian Boost, BoomPay, and Rent Reporters. I also encourage you to take it a step further by challenging biases in lending. If you are denied, ask for a manual review rather than an automated one. Get yourself in position for business credit. Personal credit is just one part of the game. Use your personal credit to access business funding. That is where the real wealth is built. This is not a time to go with the flow. This is a time to strategize and organize. Click the link in my bio, schedule a call so that we can review your credit report together, and I can help you understand what are the next best steps for you.
So it's come to my attention that a lot of y'all are confusing affirmative action with DEI, or you simply just don't know the difference between the two. This is not a video of me coming to shame you on not knowing the difference, or coming to shame you for not really understanding what DEI really is. This is a video of me coming to educate you on it very, very briefly, because what we always do, we always keep it short and cute. So basically the way that I describe affirmative action versus DEI to my students, okay? A is for access, D is for during, okay? Basically what I mean, a lot of y'all are talking about, I ain't never been hired for a job just because I'm black. That's not DEI. DEI has more so to do with what happens during your time after you get there. Affirmative action has more to do with the policies, the law, the protections and stuff put in place so that you cannot be discriminated against or blocked from having said access. And this has far much more to do with race, because there's so much in this conversation of DEI and people just for some reason thinking it just impacts black people or a certain race. Affirmative action, all that has to do with race or protections for certain protected classes. So you're gonna fall into whether it's gender, age, race, stuff like that. That is what affirmative action and DEI are both put in place for, right? So when it comes to affirmative action, that's going to be about the things that were put in place so that they cannot block you based upon your age, race, etc., etc. DEI has more so to do with the actual culture and the environment of the company or organization, right? It has to do with certain policies, but also certain trainings that take place. It's going to have to do with certain initiatives that take place. It's going to have to do with what they choose to celebrate in the workplace, what they choose to highlight in the workplace, the different ways that they are showing that we as organization or company are inclusive. We don't discriminate here. We don't blah, 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 blah. It is not about necessarily the before that, right? The how you get to these places. Like I said, the easiest example I can think of is just when it comes to the hiring. Even if you talk about admissions to school, right? That's about the affirmative action side. DEI comes in after, okay? DEI comes after, that's the during. I almost messed up the letters, okay? Okay, so that's how I think of it, is that A is what happens, that's the access to get there. D is for the during, about what happens while you're there. I hope this is easy to clear that up, because a lot of people don't know the difference between the two. However, I'm also going to drop on here a very easy summary, simple summary that you can get by simply Googling what is affirmative action versus DEI on Google, and AI provides a great summary of what it is. So, hope this helps.
Happy February 4th, y'all. It's the 4th day of Black History Month. Just gonna get right into talk about DEI. It's been kind of a hot topic lately, so I kind of just wanted to touch bases on it. I am no expert. I am no historian. I just want to kind of let y'all know what I know. And if you know more, let me know. So let's just start with the Civil Rights Act, or the Civil Rights Movement of the 1960s. That's kind of where all of this started. Affirmative action emerged, and it was essentially just to ensure that marginalized groups were afforded equal opportunities in education and employment. Executive order stated that federal contractors should take affirmative action to ensure that applicants are treated equally without regard to race, color, religion, or national origin. Later, they added women to it. I don't think women was a part of the deal in the beginning. Okay, and then we have DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. This focuses on creating workplaces and schools that are more inclusive and equitable for all individuals, not just specifically historically marginalized groups. Affirmative action was for specific historically marginalized groups. DEI is not. So my understanding is that affirmative action was created in the 60s because Black people weren't presented the same opportunities as white people in a white dominated workforce and world.
So the Civil Rights Movement and the Civil Rights Act of 1964 addressed these issues. I mean, duh, we grew up in, of course they wasn't hiring. DEI takes it a step further, and they're saying affirmative action was created for the old world. They're trying to fix what's already going on. But I'm big DEI. So how about this? Let's not even worry about, let's start from jump. Let's start from jump. Let's just make right now. Let's just make it right now. So we don't gotta go back and call affirmative action. We don't gotta call AAA. So a quick analogy to kind of help you explain, kind of help you understand the difference between affirmative action and DEI. Kids playing on a playground. So let's say there's a playground, there's kids on the side. They black. They can't play. They're on the side. They're sad. Whatever. Affirmative action. Let's personify affirmative action. Affirmative action sees this and they're like, what? No. Y'all need to change these rules. Y'all need to make it so that everybody can have a fair chance and everybody can come play. Just because they black don't mean that they can't play on this playground. Y'all need to change the rules. Y'all need to change these guidelines. I'm stepping up. I'm stepping in and I'm stepping up. DEI was created in the new millennium. So DEI is like, la la la. They're all skipping like, oh my gosh, you want to make a playground? Okay, well, let's make sure this playground is diverse, equal, and inclusive. Let's make sure this playground has ramps. Let's make sure this playground has swings that can fit all of the kids. Let's make sure everybody feels welcome in this playground when we build it. So affirmative action, they aim to help those who were left out. They want to go and grab the hand of those kids that are standing outside of the playground who are like, I want to play. I can play. I'm a kid too. Why I can't play? Affirmative action grabs their hand and say, you know what? You can play. Let's get some action. Let's switch some things up around here. You can play actually. DEI starts from the beginning. They are creating a playground that is inclusive and fair for everyone. So it's going to have a sign with all types of kids, and it's going to be colorful, and it's going to have different size ramps and monkey bars. So affirmative action focuses on the past and creating a fair workplace, where DEI aims to just create a fair workplace from jump. Affirmative action was in the Civil Rights Movement. So yes, it primarily was for Black folk. But we wouldn't even have to do this if they wasn't even trying to let us, like, they wasn't even trying to let us, do nothing. We couldn't go nowhere, we couldn't do nothing, we couldn't drink the same water. It was just a lot. And that's what really be pissing me off. They be mad like, oh, the only reason why we did it is because you wouldn't let us. So we built our own playground, and now we said this is the Black playground. We only called it the Black playground because y'all said we couldn't go to the white playground. DEI is more broad because they want to make it inclusive for everyone. So let's say this playground, anybody can play on this playground. Anybody. It don't matter what you look like. It don't matter who you're dating. It don't matter what color you like. It don't matter what food you like. It don't matter what you allergic to. It don't matter what size shoe you wear. It don't matter if you a veteran. It don't matter if you've been locked up. It don't matter what. You can walk up in this playground and it's a spot for you. Boom. So why are people so mad about DEI? And why do they want to get rid of it? A lot of people are obsessed and cold. But if you understand what DEI is and what DEI means, how could it be? DEI goes further. Preference, disabled vets, pregnant women, handicapped people, formerly incarcerated people, people in the military. Just everyone. Okay. If you're unsure, think of affirmative action as African American, and think of DEI as everybody in here. So DEI is this everybody in here, and affirmative action is African American. Hey, sometimes that's what you gotta do to understand what some of this stuff means. So hopefully I didn't talk y'all in a bunch of circles. I feel like I talked myself in a bunch of circles. But if you really understand what DEI means, it's not a threat. It's not a threat at all. I think that it's needed. So hopefully you guys understand the difference between DEI and affirmative action.
Now, I completely agree with my fellow Black brothers and sisters who are calling out the harmful misconceptions around DEI programs and affirmative action. It's really frustrating to see how often these terms are misused, especially by those who have no real understanding of their purpose or impact. The idea that DEI and affirmative action are somehow just for Black people is a distortion of the truth. As my sister in the video pointed out, ending DEI programs would have the same damaging consequences as overturning affirmative action. We've already seen that play out with the reversal of affirmative action in college admissions. The result, a significant drop of diversity which harms not just Black people, but all marginalized groups who benefit from these opportunities. Now, what's even more surprising is the way some people cling to the narrative that these programs only benefit Black individuals, when statistical evidence shows that palm-color women have been among the biggest beneficiaries of affirmative action and DEI initiatives. The fact that people still use these programs as scapegoats for their own failures is not only misleading, but it's an insult to the hard work and progress that DEI and affirmative action have supported for decades. At the end of the day, these programs are about ensuring fairness and opportunity for everyone, regardless of race, gender, or background, and not just Black people. It's about leveling the playing field, not handing out unfair advantages. So I feel people must stop with a divisive rhetoric and start having honest conversations about the real impact of DEI and affirmative action. These programs aren't the problem. They are part of the solution. For decades, Black leaders have championed diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, as a means to correct systemic inequalities. Yet after more than 50 years, DEI has failed Black communities while reinforcing palm-color power structures. If DEI was truly about dismantling systemic oppression, then why have palm-color women been its greatest beneficiaries, while Black families and generational wealth continue to fall further behind? Now, the Trump administration recently moved to dismantle federal DEI programs, prompting strong opposition from Black leaders who have rushed to defend these initiatives. But the harsh truth is that DEI has never served Black people the way it has benefited palm-color women. Rather than dismantling systemic barriers, DEI has acted as a Trojan horse for preserving palm-color supremacy, giving palm-color women disproportionate access to economic, career, and leadership advantages, while Black Americans remain locked out of true progress. For Black women, this realization is particularly disheartening, as their emotional labor and advocacy have long been manipulated to push agendas that have done nothing to build Black wealth or strengthen Black families. Now, a 2020 report from Catalyst exposes the unequal benefits of DEI. Palm-color women, due to their proximity to palm-color men in corporate and social spaces, have leveraged DEI policies for their own advancement. Meanwhile, Black communities, the very people DEI was supposedly designed to uplift, have seen little to no systemic change. Now, a 2022 study also found that 63% of DEI leadership roles are held by palm-color women, not Black women, not Latina or Indigenous women. Now, this reveals a stark reality that DEI has become an extension of palm-color feminism, solidifying palm-color women's place in corporate America while using Black women as the face of the movement. Meanwhile, Black professionals are left tokenized, sidelined, and without real decision-making power, proving that DEI has been more about optics than actual systemic change. For over 50 years, affirmative action and DEI programs have overwhelmingly benefited palm-color women, gaining them the highest increase in income, executive positions, and economic mobility. Meanwhile, the racial wealth gap for Black Americans has barely moved and, in many cases, widened. Now, a recent Federal Reserve report highlights a persistent issue. While the average palm-color family's wealth continues to grow exponentially, Black families remain systematically locked out of home ownership, high-paying jobs, and financial security. If DEI initiatives had truly been successful, Black economic empowerment would be a reality, not a topic still up for debate. Instead, the enduring wealth gap indicates that DEI has done little more than uphold existing power structures, offering only the illusion of progress. Now, reflecting on the period since the Obama administration, the economic disparities have become even more pronounced. According to inequality.org, Over Obama's presidency, median black wealth never returned to even its modest $10,700 from before the Great Recession. By 2013, it had dropped to just $1,700, virtually nothing, even as palm color wealth rebounded. Now imagine if over the last 50 years, black communities had concentrated on building generational wealth through business ownership, land acquisition, and economic self-sufficiency, rather than investing hope in the unfulfilled promises of DEI. Where would we be today? How much stronger would our families, communities, and financial institutions be if we had prioritized ownership over optics? The time spent on ineffective initiatives could have been directed toward creating genuine power, not just symbolic inclusion. DEI was never designed for black liberation. If DEI was meant to create equity, why are black families still experiencing rising economic insecurity, while palm color women have climbed the corporate ladder? Fighting for DEI today is like demanding a seat at a table that was never meant for us. Palm color women's gains equals to palm color family wealth. Over the last 50 years, the largest recipients of affirmative action policies have been palm color women. And what does that mean? Palm color families and palm color generational wealth have continued to accumulate while black generational wealth remains stagnant or declined. Even in DEI leadership roles, black professionals lack true decision-making authority. Many are trapped in symbolic positions used to signal diversity, while corporations maintain the same palm color-dominated hierarchies. If DEI truly worked, I feel black people wouldn't still be demanding economic justice, land ownership opportunities, and reparations. Instead, the focus remains on corporate diversity statistics rather than shifting wealth and power into black hands. Trump's decision to gut DEI programs should not be seen as the unaliving of black opportunity, because DEI was never the solution in the first place. If DEI had worked, black wealth wouldn't still be a fraction of palm color wealth. If DEI had worked, black professionals wouldn't still be fighting for equal pay and fair treatment in the workplace, while palm color women continue to reap the majority of the benefits. I feel it's just time to call out the blatant hypocrisy of palm color individuals who continually use DEI initiatives and affirmative action as a scapegoat for their own failures. The audacity is staggering. To assume that a black person's success is somehow underdeserved and that they only achieved it because of DEI or affirmative action. Let's set the record straight here. These programs were never designed to give black people a fair advantage. In fact, the data shows that palm color women have been the primary beneficiaries of affirmative action and DEI initiatives. But despite this, palm color individuals continue to peddle this false narrative, using it as a crutch to explain their own shortcomings. The truth is, DEI and affirmative action are necessary measures to address the systemic inequalities that have held black people back for centuries. They are not handouts or free passes, but rather attempts to level the playing field and create opportunities for marginalized communities. So to those palm color individuals who continue to spread this misinformation, let's be clear. Your failures are not the result of DEI or affirmative action. They are the result of your own lack of talent, hard work, and dedication. And it's time to take responsibility for your own shortcomings rather than blaming others for your failures. We have come to the end of the video, but share your thoughts, your contributions in the comment section. Thank you for watching, and see you in our next video as we bring you another interesting video.